Greetings, Herculoin. In this episode, we're going to talk about the various mods that I highly recommend, and I've broken them down into 3 categories. We're also going to explore the differences that each of these mods include, because some of them surprised me a bit when I loaded them, and I'd like to avoid you going through the same feeling. Now, to begin, I'm going to show you where you can get these mods easily. First, open up Steam and go to UBOAT's page in your library. Then click on Workshop. You'll see a search bar up here, and this is where you're going to search the mods we're about to go over. This first set of mods are there for increasing the realism and affect the mechanics of the game. The TDC mod is something that really completes the game in a few ways. The TDC, or Torpedo Data Computer, was how the torpedo solution was gathered. Information was relayed from the man at the periscope to the man at the TDC, who would plug it in, and it would complete the calculations for the shot. Now, I don't use this myself, but Lightly Salted has an excellent tutorial on how to use it to compute your shot, and the link is in the description below. Be sure to check it out. And what I use the TDC mod for is the stopwatch. You'll find it on the map view with the date and time display. Left-click the button to bring up the stopwatch, which you can drag to wherever you want it. Left-clicking the button at the top of the watch will start it, and left-clicking it again will stop it. Right-clicking the button resets the hands, and then right-clicking the stopwatch itself will put it away. This is extremely useful for calculating the speed of a ship that you can't see on the surface through the periscope, which we covered in the lesson about torpedo solutions. And you can use time compression so it doesn't actually take 3 minutes and 15 seconds of your life. The Realistic Ammo Capacity mod does a couple of things. First is that it prevents ammunition from being stored in storage. In our lesson about outfitting your boat for your first mission, you may recall that some ammo was stored in the storage room and needed to be transferred to the deck gun storage. This removes that. It also brings the ammo capacity of the deck gun and the flat gun to realistic levels, hence the name. This will take your ammo from around 80 rounds for the deck gun to 205 rounds, and from 6,250 in the flat gun to 1,500. The Sinking Physics Overhaul mod makes the game a little bit harder in some ways, but I find it far more engaging. Without this mod installed, enemy ships effectively have a health bar that is bright green for its undamaged health, a dull green for how much damage it's taken, and then blue for the amount of water it's taken on. You can see exactly how much damage your shots are doing, and it's especially useful for when you're using the deck guns or the flat guns to sink a ship. The Sinking Physics Overhaul mod removes the health bar and the hit points mechanics. You can't see immediately how much damage you're doing without going into the map and hovering the mouse pointer over your target. From there, you can see the stats of the target ship, including how much damage it's taken in percentage, how much it's projected to take from the current damage that you've done to it, and how much water it's taken on, and whether or not its engines are crippled.
Treffer.
It also makes the ship sink in a far more interesting ways based on the damage that it's taken, and makes for a more immersive experience. However, it does come with a bit of a spoiler. Mousing over a target will indicate the class of the ship for identification purposes, which isn't really a factor unless you're trying to use the ship's silhouette to identify it. If you're tasked with sinking a specific ship for a mission, it will also tell you if the ship icon you're mousing over is that exact ship. So if you want to avoid spoilers, don't hover your mouse over the icons. If you don't mind them, then it's nothing to worry about. For the sake of your sanity, I cannot recommend these next two mods enough. The first is Schneller Schneller. One of the unfortunate parts of U-Boat is that the voice lines don't always match the action or the situation. Anytime that you move your speed telegraph closer to max forward speed, your skipper will shout at the top of his lungs that you must go faster.
Schneller, schneller!
It doesn't matter if you're rigged for silent and a destroyer is bearing down on you, ready to depth charge you any moment that he finds you. Your skipper will scream, Schneller, schneller.
Schneller, schneller!
Also, if you're moving in reverse and you slow down, he will shout, Schneller, schneller, which is ordering the opposite. This mod gets rid of that voice line entirely and makes all the difference. The Quiet Course Change Bell Sound mod is similar to Schneller Schneller. You'll be setting your course and changing it a lot in your career as a skipper. The bell that sounds to indicate you've reached a waypoint or set a waypoint is rather loud, but it does provide information. This mod makes that sound quieter so that it's informative without being nearly so distracting.
Kurs setzen. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen. Legen Sie den Kurs an. Jawohl.
The next two mods on this list are simply there to make the game a bit more interesting. It increases some of the immersion and the realism, but doesn't really affect any of the mechanics. They're purely cosmetic, and you'll likely not even notice them, which is mostly the point. The first of these mods is the Expanded Ship Names mod. Playing without this mod, you'll find that you've sunk the same ship many times. I'm not talking about how the Japanese Navy thought they sunk USS Enterprise 3 times. I mean that you've sunk the same freighter Empire Decoy 37 times in 1940 alone. It greatly expands the name generation of ships so that it feels far more natural, and you're far less likely to sink the same ship faster than the new one can be built to carry on its name. Part of maintaining discipline for the crew can involve letting the men listen to music to raise their spirits. Unfortunately, the music is very limited in the base game. The GJC's Big Radio Collection mod adds 90 more songs from the time period to the radio stations. This not only gives a better immersive experience, but you'll find yourself hearing some fantastic music from the era that you might never have known about otherwise. I rarely play music within the episodes for copyright purposes, but if I'm not recording, then they're actually quite enjoyable. And if you're playing in the first-person mode, then it greatly enhances the immersion because the sound will be based on where you are in the boat. Good luck, Herr Cologne.
The kind of music men hum or whistle when they feel on top of the world. And gentlemen, one of the many things that give you that tip-top feeling is the pleasure of being well dressed.